Evening, everyone. Hopefully, you can all hear me okay.
Hi, Richard.
Evening, Phil. Hi, guys.
Evening, mate.
Evening.
Yeah, so this one, normally, guys, it's all good to kind of have your cameras turned off. But if you're happy to do so, if you're not in a compromising position, shall we say, it'd be really good if you could have your camera on, so that I can see you basically. So yeah, if you wouldn't mind getting cameras on, that would be good. As I say, if you're in your underpants, then yeah, don't. But yeah, I hope you're all good this evening, guys. So in this session, we are going to be focusing on the chest and back. I'm going to be talking about joint angles, kind of the muscle groups, etc. It's not a super intense session, okay? So I apologise for that in advance. There's a lot of coaching. So we've got one more week after this of kind of like the real heavy duty coaching, and then we're going to go into kind of our more dynamic sessions. So you've not got too much longer to go until you start getting, I think probably what you really want in terms of a workout. So yes, bear with me. Please try and absorb as much as you can. These videos, of course, will be available to you in the members area shortly. So you can watch them again, in particular about all the joint angle stuff and the basics, so that when you do any derivative of the exercises that we're doing this evening, you kind of know what the foundation is. In terms of equipment, you're going to need a set of dumbbells or equivalent, set of heavy books. I don't know. So with the email that we send out has a video link, and that shows you a few things around the house you can use. So like gallon jugs of water and things like that. Just remember, 1 litre of water equals a kilo in weight. I don't know if you remember that from it must be like GCSE chemistry or physics, shall we say? Let's say chemistry. So a couple of dumbbells, and ideally a resistance band anchored up high, so to the top of your doorway. If you don't have that, guys, don't worry about it. It's really not a big deal. It's for one exercise, and it's an exercise we all know and love, the lat pull down, but it's just to demonstrate it. So we'll rattle through that one really quickly when we get there. So do not worry if you don't have a resistance band and you can't do it. It's just for one exercise. For future reference, resistance bands are always really useful. Heavy duty ones like this, I can send you the link for. A mini band, you're not going to need it tonight, but sun dried, do these mini bands, and you can get 30% off everything at sun dried using the code that's all over the website. So set dumbbells, a resistance band, and then a chair or sofa or something. I'm going to use the weight bench, which is down here, which is why I'm pointing there. But again, you can actually use the floor, so it's not a big deal if you don't have anything to hand. So anyway, let's get started, shall we? So we're going to start down on the floor. Okay, we're going to do some chest flies loads high. So what you're going to do, and I hope you can see this. Let me just angle my monitor a little bit more so I can see. Right, so you can be lying on your back with your palms up in front of your groin, I guess. Okay, switch around so I can actually do this. And then what you're going to do is you're going to draw your palms right up like this and down. If you don't have the space to do that, you can just do this on your knees. Okay, you can just do it like this. And if you want to add a couple of really, really light weights, this is just a warm-up exercise. So the way you can do it is like this. Okay, so do it lying down. It's a better exercise to do it lying down. Or you can do it on your knees like this, depending on what your setup is. So like this, just super light weights if you're using weights. Otherwise, just use your arms. Okay, just going to do 10 of these. So you'll feel this warming up your shoulders as well. Okay, I'm just going to do the last 5 lying on my mat. Annoyingly, the camera angle actually gives. We've actually got quite a lot of space in here, but the camera angle I've got actually gives me very little room to maneuver. Okay, I'll just do a couple more. Cool. All right, and then we're gonna turn over onto our front, and we're just gonna do some press ups. I'm gonna go through press up technique properly in a little bit, but we're just gonna do them on our knees and just shift our weight forward so our shoulders are over our wrists, and then we're just gonna do 5, going nice and low down. So 1, 2. Don't worry if you're not getting right down, guys. Just do your best for now. This is just a warm up. All sins are forgiven during the warm up. Okay, so just 5 little press ups. And then what we're going to do, down onto our front, we're basically going to do the opposite of what we were just doing. So again, just need to make sure you can kind of see me. So you're going to start with your hands kind of in the small of your back, with your palms facing the ceiling. Okay, and just allow your elbows to flop forwards onto the floor. Then what you're going to do is you're going to draw your elbows and your shoulders back, and then you're going to bring your arms round to the front like so. Just pause there, then bring them back to the small of your back and allow your shoulders to flop down again and your elbows touching the floor. And we're just going to do 10 of those, okay? So you retract your elbows and your shoulder blades, lift your chest up a little bit, bring your hands to the front, just pause, then coming back down, palms facing the ceiling again, and you just kind of allow your shoulders to flop forward. Number 2. So these are called around the worlds. 3. These are good for kind of scapular retraction, trying to pulling your shoulder blades, getting those muscles working, and then also just kind of getting your deltoids, your shoulder muscles working. I'll be talking about muscle groups shortly. This is number 5. Six. So each time allowing the shoulders to drop forwards and then retracting them again. 8. 2 more. Last one. Okay. Okay, relax. Got next. Yes. So a few of you guys will have had this one already. You're just going to lie on the floor, draw your hips up to 90. So kind of draw your knees up a little bit. And then what you're going to do is put your palm loosely behind your head. Just allow it to touch kind of forearm on the other side. And then you're going to rotate out like this as far as you can. Now keep your legs glued together. You saw there my leg starts coming apart. So keeping your legs glued together, just drawing your elbow back as far as you can go. This is a T rotation, so this is for your thoracic spine, sort of that mid to upper third of your spine, okay? Really important to kind of get that mobilised before you do any upper body weight. So you're just going to do 5 of these on each side. So 1, nice and smooth, nice and slow. 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I've got a thing about the about upper body mobility at the moment. So many of you guys with your strength plans, you'll have a lot of kind of thoracic rotation stuff, and it's because I just through the dynamic screening started seeing a few little patterns in terms of upper body mobility. So onto the other side, as far as you can. 1, keeping your legs glued together. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Now, next one, you can use the edge of the sofa, or you can use the wall. I'm going to use the wall, or you can even use the floor. What you're going to do is go up towards the edge of the sofa or or the wall. Just put your hands on it, and then you're just gonna shimmy back a little bit, sit down your heels, and just check you can drop your head in between your arms, like so. Alright, so there's two movements to this. So firstly, you're going to drop your head as low as you can. Then you're going to come up onto your knees and push your groin into the wall and arch your head back. So you get pinching in your lumbar spine. So dropping back down, head goes below. Coming forwards. 1. I'm going to do 5 more of these. 2. This one's great if you've been sitting down all day. 3. 4. 5. Last one. 6. Oh, it's an absolute miracle that chew has lasted so long. He normally wolfs them down, doesn't even chew them. Okay, cool guys. So normal drill then, in terms of just final sort of mobility exercises. We haven't really warmed up the legs because there's no point, we're not actually doing any leg exercises today. But just do some leg swings, just take it nice and easy because your legs aren't warmed up. We're just loosening off the hamstrings a touch. Just 10 of these forwards and back. As I say, just taking it pretty easy. We're just mobilising the hamstrings. They're not warm, so you don't want to kick too high because they, don't want them to go ping. And then adductors and abductors as well. So swinging, kicking across yourself. Just laughing because I've got it on gallery view and it looks a little bit like, I don't know, like a North Korean military training video or something. Don't know whether that's on PC to say or not. Too tired to care. Okay, a couple more. So 10 on these each side. And then we go, if you've not got very good clearance, above you, do this on your knees. We just do some arm swings. Going forward to start off with. So 10, just make sure you're drawing your arms right in close to your ears. Your shoulders should be nice and warm. So you should be able to get them right in close to your ears. And then back. And then across your chest. Okay, so you should feel nice and loose in the upper body. Okay. Depending on where you are, you might not feel super warm as such. So right, just a quick little chat about muscle groups, okay? I'll just rattle through this quite quickly. Just remember, you can always come back and watch this video if you forget anything. Okay, so chest muscles, your pectorals. Shoulder muscles, called your deltoids. Okay, and back to your arms, your triceps. So any kind of chest exercise generally requires a pushing motion. Okay, and any kind of pushing motion almost always is going to use your pectorals, the fronts of your deltoids, and your triceps. Okay, back exercises, generally speaking, use the opposing muscle groups to a greater extent. Okay, so you're going to use your lats, which on people that actually have lats are like the wing-shaped muscle down here. Okay, your rhomboids that are used for scapular retraction and amongst other things, and then your biceps. Okay, those are the sort of pulling motion, the rowing motions. Okay, so just remember that pushing is chest, fronts of shoulders, and triceps. Pulling motions, your rows, etc. It's going to be lats, rhomboids, biceps, amongst other muscles. Okay, so that's predominantly what we're going to be working this evening. Okay, right, he's got another chew here. Hey, yeah, you wanted that, didn't you? Okay, so that's predominantly what we're going to be working on tonight. So, going to get yourselves a couple of dumbbells or equivalent, just sort of medium sort of weights, 3, 4, 5 kilos, nothing crazy, and you're just going to lie down. Okay, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about joint angles, but you're going to do it with me. All right, so get your, as if you're doing a bench press. Okay, so get your elbow in line with your shoulder, holding the weight, get your wrist above your elbow, 90 degrees. Okay, with weightlifting, so often we talk about 90-degree angles in your joints. As a general rule, if you're wondering what your joint should be doing, 90 degrees is usually a safe bet, okay? So this is your bench press position. This is your chest press position right now, okay? This is the minimum point at which you should come back to when you are doing a chest press. Ideally, your elbows would drop below the ground, okay? And you get a nice stretch across the front of your pectorals. When you're pressing up, like so, okay, the weights stay in front of your chest. So often I see the weights go above people's face. If you're blocking out the light above you, it is above your face. Okay, so make sure the weights are in front of your chest and you bring them back down like so, back to that 90-degree angle. Okay, so we're just going to do 10 like this, just very quickly. Okay, so exhaling as you go up. So 1, 2, just pausing at the top. Just think of this as an extension of the warm-up. 3, 4, just kind of bringing your you should feel your pectorals working. If you pause at the top, you should be able to sort of squeeze your chest muscles. So remember, we're working front of your shoulders, your triceps, and your pectoral muscles. Okay, one more. Okay, and that, guys, is the basics of a chest press up, the vast majority of chest exercises. So just remember that always coming back to at least that baseline of having 90-degree, your elbow in line with your shoulder, 90 degrees. Okay, that is your baseline. If you're not doing that, what's going to happen is you're going to get a shortening of the pectoral muscles. So you see all those gym rats that are just going and start smashing the bench press, and they're just half repping the crap out of it, and they start getting this rounded physique because their pectoral muscles might be very strong, but they're shortened. Okay, the draws their shoulders around, so they're walking around like gorillas. All right, basically, one bench press with a barbell is a pretty pointless exercise, to be honest. It's like doing, well, for a triathlete, I think bilateral squats are pretty useless, because you just get compensation and also it restricts your movement. The bar's gonna restrict you how far you can go back with your elbows. Okay, so that is your baseline. Next, what I'd like to do is add in some form of bench. Okay, so I've hopefully got a gym bench, but I'm going to turn it sideways. Okay, so if you're using a chair or something, turn the chair side on so you can get your head across it. All right, what you're going to do is basically the same exercise. Okay, but what you're going to do, just move this right back. What you're going to do is I want just your just the back of your head and just the very top of your shoulder on it. Okay, so and then what you're going to do is draw the weights so you can see immediately. If I turn this side on very quickly. I turn the side on. I'll show you very quickly. That way gone. Immediately you can see my elbows can drop just slightly below my level of my chest. Okay, and then immediately, if you're holding the weights here, you can feel a bit of a stretch across the front of your chest. Okay, so getting to that position, we're going to do 10 more like this. So 90 degrees in the elbow, drop the elbows just slightly below the chest, and then pressing up, exhaling. 1, 2, think about the weights coming kind of level with your nipples. Okay, 3, well, depending on how well endowed you are, I guess. Yeah, anyway, we'll move on. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. And that, guys, is a classic example of how a strength exercise can actually be a mobility exercise as well. Because if you are restricted, just bringing that weight down, kind of just until you bring your elbows behind your back a little bit. That's going to open up your chest. Okay, that's a really important point. And that's just going through the full range of motion, essentially. And it means that you can actually, even though you're working those muscles, you can also open them up as well, because you're moving them through a greater range than you might otherwise do. So next one, the dreaded press up. Okay, so I'm going to move all this stuff out the way. So I've gone through the chest press first, because the mechanics are the exact same. Press ups are just bloody hell a lot harder. Okay, so I know with quite a few of you guys, we talked through this before in sort of our recent screenings and things, but I think it bears repeating because it is such an important exercise, and it's an exercise I think personally everybody should be able to do 10 full press ups. Okay, I just think that's a really good indication of upper body strength, and particularly for a triathlete and cyclist. You know, it's kind of the best we can kind of hope for because we're so weak. But anyway, right, so just starting off on our knees. Okay, I'm going to show you the knee press up first. Okay, so you're going to take your hands down onto the mat. I want them just slightly wider than shoulder width. Okay, and I want you on this position. Say your your eyes are level with your thumbs. I want you to shift right forward on your knees, so that your chest is in line with your hands, or to put it another way, your shoulders are directly over your wrists. Now, this is a really important point that when people start, they generally forget. Look forwards 2 or 3 feet ahead of you. The reason for that is, if you're looking down directly at the ground, you're going to bring your face to the ground, and that is just going to emphasize your shoulder muscles and your triceps. If you shift your weight forwards and look 2 or 3 feet forwards, it's going to draw your chest to the ground. So basically, it's the equivalent. You know, earlier I said don't have the weights above your face. It's the exact same situation. You've just basically the ground is the weights, and you're drawing your face to the weights rather than the other way around. Okay, so into the position. Say forward on the knees, shoulders over wrists, looking for 2 or 3 feet forwards, and we're just going to hold our gaze there, and we're going to do 10 on our knees. Here we go. 1. Chest right down to the ground. Remember those angles. So you want at least 90 degrees in that elbow. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. Keep looking 2 or 3 feet ahead. 7. 8. 9. And 10. Okay, good. Right, let's just take a little pause. So now we're going to go into the full press up. Now, guys, if you can't do full press up, do not worry. Just do your best, okay? So one of the exercises that are often set for people as part of a press up progression is to focus on the eccentric phase. So an eccentric contraction, guys, is when you are lengthening the muscle whilst it's under tension. So basically, you're lengthening the muscle under loading, or in this case, it's the lowering down phase of the press up. All right. So when I set that for people, what we're trying to do is that eccentric contraction, that eccentric loading, because what that does is it shreds the muscle like nobody's business, and it then encourages the muscle to re-knit stronger. It helps to get over a plateau, and it's a really useful exercise. So if you're going back to the chest press, if you're struggling to get up to the next weight, throwing a few eccentric focus reps at the end of your rep range can help you get to that next kind of stepping stone. Okay, so if you can't do a full press up, guys, you know you can't push yourself back up, or you can only do a couple. What I would like you to do instead is just really lower yourself down super slowly over 8 seconds. Okay, we're going to do 10 full press ups. If you're doing eccentric ones, just do 5 or 6 in the time it takes us to do the full press up. Is that all okay with everyone? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Yeah? Okay, it's mostly thumbs up. Cool. Okay, so full press up situation. Exactly the same. We start with our face level with our hands. We then come forward on our toes, so our chest is over our hands. We then look forwards about 2 or 3 feet ahead of us. And then we're going to lower that chest to the ground either very slowly, or we're just going to smash out 10 nice and neat press ups. chest going right down to the ground. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep going, looking forward 2 or 3 feet. 7, 8, 9. Last one, chest right down to the ground. And 10. Okay, good stuff, guys. Well done. One thing I left out is if you're doing the eccentric ones, don't worry too much about pushing yourself up. Just peel yourself off the ground. It's not a big deal. It's all about that eccentric loading. The pushing off the ground, that comes next. Okay? So there you go, guys. Just remember all those joint angles with the chest exercises. I've got one last chest exercise to show you. Okay? And it's a slightly fiddly one. So I wanted to get all those kind of similar derivatives out of the way first. Remember that those joint angles, 90 degrees as your baseline. If not, when you're doing a chest press, it's coming a little bit beyond, and it's going to help open up that chest. Weight or your hands stay in front of your chest, not in front of your face. Okay, so next final chest exercise I'm going to show you is what's called a chest fly. Now, I hope you're going to be able to see this properly. Camera angle's not the best, but this is slightly different. Okay, so this emphasizes the pectorals even more, and it hits them from a different angle. So the chest, with the chest press and the press ups, etc., if you change the angle that you're lying at, or you elevate your feet, etc., you can basically hit upper, middle, and lower aspects of your pectoral. It's all one muscle, but you just hit it from a different angle. This one is kind of hitting into the side of your pectoral and across the fronts of your shoulders, but really kind of that where the chest kind of connects into into your shoulder, really, kind of. So what you're going to do, lying on you do this lying on the floor, you can do this on the bench, or ideally you'd have something like this that you can lie back on. Okay, the weights go up in front of your chest. Again, this is a criminal one for putting the weights up in front of your face. It's a really good way to lose some teeth, give yourself a black eye. Okay, then what you're going to do is just going to bend your elbows to about 15 degrees, and you're going to keep them bent to that extent all the way through. And then from this position, the weights go outwards in an arc. Okay, that's again really important. You're not just bending your elbows like this, because that's just a chest press. Okay, the elbows stay bent, and the weights go out in an arc, so out to the side and round and down like this. Okay, this is your baseline. You're level with your chest. But can you go a little bit further? If you can do that, you should feel a fantastic stretch across the sides of your pectorals. And then you bring it back up, still with that 15-degree bend, until you get to the top, and then you can straighten your arms. So let's run through that again. Slight soft bend in the elbows and keep it there. Weights go out in an arc till you get to level to your chest. And can you go beyond and get that lovely, lovely stretch? And you can just hang out there for a second. Oh, that's nice. I need to do some of these. Okay, so if you're able to do these, guys, we're going to do 10 of them. Okay? All right, so weights up in front of your chest, soft bend in your elbows, and just remember, weights go out to the side, and you do not bend your elbows some more. Okay, so this is 1. Very slow on this exercise, particularly on the way down. You can go a bit faster on the way up. On the way down, just be very careful until you get a nice stretch. Keep going. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and last one, 10. Okay, good. And so for those pec flies in particular, you do not need a lot of weight. Okay, the real benefit from that exercise is coming from that stretch. Okay, that's really going to help emphasize the kind of the lateral side of your pectorals. Oh, I thought I started my timer. Oh, okay. So now we're going on to the back muscles, and this is going to, don't worry, this will go a little bit quicker. So we'll start off with this lat pull down. Do not worry if you don't have a resistance band anchored up high. It's not a big deal. I'll show you this one really quickly. It's super straightforward. There's a couple of key points. With a lat pull down, guys, what you'll often see in the gym, particularly when on the one where you got your knees anchored and you got the T-bar up, a lot of leaning back. Okay? It's just a different exercise, I guess. It is a legit exercise, but it's not what we want to do when we're talking about a lat pull down. That's more of a row. Okay? So that's going to get more into your traps. What we want with a lat pull down, a legit lat pull down, is you want to be pretty much underneath the pivot point, underneath the kind of the fulcrum. Is that not? I forget my physics. Anyway, so with the lat pull down, what's really important is you're underneath it. You're not leaning backwards, and it's your hand is going towards your shoulder and not towards your chest, because that's going to encourage you to lean back. Okay, so this is a shoulder depression exercise. Okay, that's what your lats do. Your lats, these winged muscles, they draw your shoulders down. So if you're at a laptop all day like this, you can see why your lats would be really important muscles for good posture. Okay, so if you can do this, I'm just seeing if anyone actually can do this. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, okay. We'll do our best. We'll just knock them out quickly. We're just going to do 5 on each side. Okay, so make sure your hand is pretty much above your shoulder, and you're just going to draw your hand towards your shoulder. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then on to the other side. I'm just going to show you so you can see it from behind, so you can see how unimpressive my lats are. Okay, hand directly to your shoulder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's your lats. Those muscles are involved in shoulder depression, as are your lower trapezius muscle. So your trapezius is a diamond-shaped muscle. This diamond that starts up by your neck, kind of goes to around here, and then comes down in a diamond shape. It's activated in 3 sectors. Same muscle, but activate, and the 3 sectors do different things. It's nuts. So the lower trapezius actually depresses your shoulders as well alongside the lats. Your upper trapezius, near your neck, which is often the cause of neck pain, because we're all hunched. Yeah, that upper trapezius, shoulder elevation, same muscle, kind of doing 2 joint movements. It's nuts. It's not really that nuts. I'm getting a bit overexcited. But yeah, so guys, what tends to happen is people have overactive upper traps. So they're walking around like this all day, myself included. And what you really want to do is strengthen those lower traps and those lats, draw those shoulders down. So that's your lats. Moving on to rowing exercises. So we talked about kind of those pulling exercises, more into your biceps, etc. So I'm just going to show you the bent over row. Okay. So what you tend to see with the bent over row is as people are rowing, they start to ratchet up like a car jack, and by the end of it, they're like this. It's actually a legit exercise again. If you're down to about 30 degrees, I was talking earlier about those lower traps, when you're doing it at this position where you start with the weights in front of your knees and you draw it into your stomach like this, that's getting into your lower traps. So if you try that now and just pull it in past your stomach and squeeze your shoulder blades together, you should feel it pinching in sort of this mid to lower section of your back. Okay, so just remember, weights up by your knees, start at your knees, rowing you past your stomach, that's into your lower traps. However, the actual proper bent over row, you're properly doubled over. So the weights start in front of your shins. And again, you're rowing in past your stomach. So you're not rowing into your chest, okay? Because that's going to switch on those upper traps that we don't want to use. So the row is in, just remember, the rowing is in past your stomach, like that. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to do a quick fire 10 of each. So you're going to start with weights by your knees, and we're going to get into the lower traps for 10. Here we go. 1. Keeping those shoulders down, bringing the weights past your stomach. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we're going to drop right down so the weights are in front of our shins. And here we go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okie dokie. Right then. So we've done the rows. Next, you want a very light weight for this. So you know we did those pec flies earlier. This next exercise is basically the same, but the opposite way around. So you're starting in a bent over row position. So start with the weights in front of your shins, and then again, soft bend in the elbows about 15 degrees, and then, as I said, opposite. So the weights go out in an arc, so out to the side until they're level with kind of like your they're level with your back, the very back of your back. Okay, so like that. Okay, so not drawing your elbows don't get to 90 degrees at any point. Your elbows extend outwards to the side, starting at 15-degree bend. Okay, so we're going to do 10 of these again. Remember, the weight's coming back in front of your stomach, not your chest. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, good. So that's the reverse flies. Now, with any exercise where you're doubled over like that, same goes with a deadlift or anything. Any exercise where you're doubled over like that, try to avoid rounding your shoulders around like that. Okay, I talked about this last time, but all you're doing, what you want to do is just draw your shoulders to neutral. So you're not drawing them back, you're just drawing them to neutral, so that the shoulder kind of sits in the joint. You're not rounding forwards like that, because as soon as you do that, it puts a lot of pressure on kind of your mid to lower back, okay, to kind of counterbalance. So all the time, whenever you're in those bent over positions, just make sure that your shoulders are in their socket. So if I do it like this, so that's rounded, that's in neutral, that's retracted. So that's where we want to be pretty much all the time, apart from when you're obviously doing the exercise. Right, so we've done reverse flies. Final one is something called Y raises. I absolutely love these. We give them to our guys all the time, so some of you guys will have done them already. Y raises, getting into those lower traps again. And it's another bent over exercise. Okay, so just remember what I was saying about not rounding your shoulders, bring them into neutral. So what we're going to do, take a very light pair of weights, literally just 1, 2, maybe 3 kilos max. And then what you're going to do, you're going to turn them out into a V shape. Okay? And then what you're going to do, each weight is going to continue that V-shaped trajectory like that. Okay, so I'll show you the full speed exercise. So it's like that. You're not going really high. You're not rocking and rolling like that. Just go as far as you can under control. So you might not even be able to get level with your shoulder, as I can't at the moment. We've got a bit of a restriction there for some reason. Okay, but we're going to do this together. So double over. Make sure those shoulders aren't rounded. They're in neutral. Weights are together are kind of in front of the middle of your shin. Turn them out into a V. And then we're going to do 10. Nice and controlled. No rocking. No counterbalancing. Just pure lower trap action. Here we go. 1. Out into a V. Or a Y. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8, 9, and 10. Okay. Right. And there you go. All right, so just very, very quick run through of what we talked about. And we start with the chest exercises. We talked about coming back to the baseline of that 90-degree bend in the elbow. Okay. And if you're doing a chest press, hopefully bring your elbows back even further and just opening up your chest a little bit more. When you're doing press-ups, make sure your chest is over your hands and your face isn't going to the ground, and you get your chest right down. With the flies, 15-degree bend in the elbow out to the side in an arc. With the lat pull down, drawing the hand to the shoulder, you're not leaning back. It's a shoulder depression exercise. It's not a row. Okay, so you're depressing that shoulder down. With the rows, you got those two types. You got 30 degrees, getting into your lower traps, and then you got the full bent over row, getting more into your lats, kind of the sort of the middle sector of your back. The bent over flies, again, 15-degree bend, making sure those shoulders stay in neutral, coming out to the side. You're not just rowing. And then finally, those Y raises. V shape, out to the side, not using momentum, just really nice and controlled. If you can do that exercise really controlled, you're going to do really good, you can get really great activation of those lower traps. And for the vast majority of people, they actually just really struggle to get those lower traps mobilized because their upper traps are so dominant. Okay, so even if you were just to do 10 of these just with your hands every day, that's going to get those lower traps activated, and then when you start to add in weight, it'll be a hell of a lot easier. Anyway, guys, I talked at you a lot. I know that wasn't the super intense session. We've got one more session like this next week, which is to do kind of arms, shoulders, and core. Okay, and then we're going to get into some kind of more dynamic stuff. Has anyone got any questions? Gosh, I'm that good, am I?
Rich, I just gave a suggestion for anyone that's at home to anchor their band.
Yeah.
Not in the end, and then you shut it in the door.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great one.
So like you close it in the door, and then you can kneel underneath the door.
Yeah. Or alternatively, you can get yourself a door anchor. Get them off Amazon for probably less than £5. And yeah, it does the exact same thing. It just obviously doesn't damage the band. Yeah, but that's a really good shout. Actually, I've never actually done that one, Chantal. That's a great shout. Anyone with any questions, suggestions, comments? No. Cool. Okay, guys. Well, hopefully you learned at least something there. I'll post this up on the members area so you can all have a look at it again if you need any advice when you're doing any sort of derivative exercises. Otherwise, guys, thanks a lot for coming, and we will see you next week. Cool. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye. Cheers, Richard.
Thanks, Rich.
Take care, guys.